Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Sharmin Rahman, Associate Professor, Department of Anatomy at the Women's Medical College. Today I am going to talk about the circulatory system. The circulatory system includes both the blood and lymphatic vascular systems. But here I am only discussing about the blood vascular system. The blood vascular system is composed of the following structures: the heart, an organ whose function is to pump the blood. Then the arteries. These are a series of vessels that transport blood away from the heart by branching into vessels of smaller and smaller diameter, eventually branching into capillaries to supply all regions of the body with blood. Usually arteries carries oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. Now capillaries. These are thin-walled vessels with the smallest diameter, form capillary beds where gases, nutrients, metabolic wastes, hormones, and signaling substances are interchanged or passed between the blood and the tissues of the body to sustain normal metabolic activities. Now veins. These are vessels that drain capillary beds and form larger and larger vessels returning blood to the heart. We all know that these veins carry deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary vein. Now, what is the general structure of blood vessels? Three separate concentric layers of tissue or tunics make up the wall of the typical blood vessels. The innermost layer is known as tunica intima, the intermediate layer is known as tunica media, and the outermost layer is known as tunica adventitia or tunica externa. Now, tunica intima. It consists of, from inside to outside, endothelial cells layer, subendothelial layer, and internal elastic lamina. Endothelial cells. It is lined by simple squamous epithelium, which lining the lumen of the blood vessel rests on a basal lamina. Subendothelial layer consisting of loose connective tissue and a few scattered smooth muscle cells. An internal elastic lamina composed of elastin has holes or fenestrae that allow the diffusion of substances to nourish cells deep in the vessel wall. The endothelial cells contain Weibel-Palade bodies that are membrane-bound inclusions 0.1 micrometer in diameter and 3 micrometer long, that have a dense matrix housing tubular elements containing the glycoprotein von Willebrand factor. This factor, which facilitates the coagulation of platelets during clot formation, is manufactured by most endothelial cells but is stored only in arteries. Now, tunica media. It consists of chiefly concentric layers of helically arranged smooth muscle cells and also variable amounts of elastic fibers and lamina, reticular fibers of collagen type 3, proteoglycans, and glycoproteins, all of which is produced by these cells. In arteries, the media has a thinner external elastic lamina, which separates it from the tunica adventitia or tunica externa. In capillaries and postcapillary venules do not have a tunica media. In these small vessels, pericytes replace the tunica media. Now, tunica adventitia or tunica externa. It consists principally of type 1 collagen fiber and elastic fibers. This layer becomes continuous with the connective tissue elements surrounding the vessel. Large vessels usually have vasa vasorum, that is, vessels of the vessel, which consist of arterioles, capillaries, and venules in the tunica adventitia and outer part of the media. The vasa vasorum provide metabolites to cells of those layers. Compared with arteries, veins have more cells that cannot be supplied with oxygen and nutrients by diffusion because venous blood contains less oxygen and nutrients than arterial blood. For this reason, the vasa vasorum are more prevalent in the walls of veins than arteries. This is the answer of the question of explanatory question, that is why vasa vasorum is more prevalent in the walls of the veins than arteries. This is the figure where we can see artery and vein. This is tunica intima layer of artery, which consists of endothelium that is lined by simple squamous epithelium, now subendothelial layer, and this is internal elastic lamina, whereas in the veins there are lined by simple squamous epithelium and valves is present in this lumen, and there is subendothelial layer present. This is tunica media, which consists of smooth muscle cells and elastic lamina. And this is tunica media of vein. And this is external elastic lamina that differentiates the tunica media from the tunica externa or adventitia in the artery. And outermost layer is tunica externa, where vasa vasorum is present. Later we will discuss about the artery and vein, differences between artery and vein in the part 2. Now, classification of arteries. Arteries are classified into three major types based on their relative size, morphological characteristics, or both. From largest to smallest, they are as follows: elastic arteries or conducting arteries or large-sized arteries, then muscular arteries or distributing or medium-sized arteries, and last of all, arteriole. This table shows the characteristics of various types of arteries. In the elastic artery, tunica media is contain endothelium with Weibel-Palade bodies, and based on basal lamina, the subendothelial layer is present and incomplete internal elastic lamina. And in muscular artery, endothelium with Weibel-Palade bodies based on basal lamina, the subendothelial layer is present and there are presence of thick internal elastic lamina. In case of arteriole, endothelium with Weibel-Palade bodies and rest on basal lamina, and subendothelial layer not very prominent, and some elastic fibers instead of a defined internal elastic lamina. And in case of metarteriole, endothelium present in the basal lamina. Endothelium which rests on the basal lamina. And in case of tunica media, in elastic artery, it contains 40 to 70 fenestrated elastic membranes and smooth muscle cells interspersed between elastic membranes, and thin external elastic lamina present and vasa vasorum is also present in outer half. In case of muscular artery, up to 40 layers of smooth muscle cells present and thick external elastic lamina present. In case of arteriole, 1 or 2 layers of smooth muscle cells present. In case of metarteriole, smooth muscle cells form pre-capillary sphincter. And in case of tunica adventitia, in elastic artery, thin layer of fibroelastic connective tissue present, and also vasa vasorum, lymphatic vessels and nerve fibers are present. In muscular artery, thin layer of fibroelastic connective tissue, vasa vasorum, not very prominent here, and also lymphatic vessels and nerve fibers are present here. In case of arteriole, loose connective tissue and nerve fibers are present, and in case of metarteriole, sparse loose connective tissue present in tunica adventitia. This is the microscopical structure of elastic artery, where we can see this is a tunica intima layer. This is endothelial layer, and this is internal elastic lamina, which can differentiate from tunica intima with the tunica media. This thick layer is tunica media, which consists of smooth muscle cells and elastic fibers, and this is tunica adventitia. There is an explanatory question, that is, why large artery is called elastic artery? The answer is, large artery is called elastic artery because in the tunica media, there are more elastic fibers present than smooth muscle cells. And this histological figure is very important for you written examination. You have to draw and label this figure if there is coming a question where that is histological structure of elastic artery, or only the question draw and label the histological structure of elastic artery. In this figure, we can see this is this is tunica intima, which contains endothelium layer and subendothelium layer and internal elastic lamina. This is tunica media layer, which contains smooth muscle cell and elastic fibers. And this is tunica adventitia, where we can see the vasa vasorum. This is microscopical structure of muscular artery, where we can see this is endothelium layer and this is internal elastic lamina, which is very prominent here. And this is tunica media and this is tunica adventitia, where small blood vessels are leveled. And there may be another explanatory question, that is, why medium-sized artery is called muscular artery? The answer is, medium-sized artery is called muscular artery because in the layer of tunica media, there are plenty amount of smooth muscle cells than elastic fibers. And in this figure, we can see this is tunica intima layer, where endothelium layer, subendothelial layer, and prominent internal elastic lamina. And this is tunica media layer, and outermost layer is tunica adventitia. Internal elastic lamina is more prominent in muscular or medium-sized artery than in elastic or large sized artery, because um, in case of elastic artery, uh, as because we know in elastic artery there are more elastic fiber present in tunica media, and so we can differentiate the internal elastic lamina with the uh, elastic fibers present in the tunica media. That's why it is more prominent in the medium-sized artery or muscular artery. So that is all for today. Thank you.